Welcome again to MotherToSonCooking.com. This is a recipe my mother and aunts used to cook a lot. Of course, when we lived on the farms, they butchered a lot of pigs, and we would get a lot of what you call country-style ribs. They're a little bit different from your baby backs and your spare ribs. They do impart a very good taste to them. It's a very simple recipe to make. You get the ribs, country-style ribs at the grocery store now. They used to cut them up themselves. Basically, we're going to start off with a little bit of flour, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of garlic, and then over here I'm going to put the seared ribs before I put them with the onions on top. About one big onion chopped up. Basically, all I've done now is I've coated the ribs in a little bit of flour, added a little more pepper on them. During the cooking, the pepper will cook off. It'll make a nice gravy. You'll get a lot of juice out of this recipe. You can make some nice gravies with it too. But anyways, I got them coated. All I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of sear them up a little bit. That way it holds a little bit of the grease in. Now I've got a nice hot skillet with the pan covered with a little bit of canola oil in it. You can use whatever you want, vegetable oil, lard, whatever. All we're going to do here is we're going to come back and sear both sides. Then we're going to put them in the oven at about 350 for about 2 hours. I'm going to put some onions on top. Put them in the oven, and you just check them every so often. Back and seared it 4 or 5 minutes. Depending on how hot the grease gets. You just want a nice sear, kind of retain the juices in the inside, because during the baking it's going to cook all out. About 1/2 of it done, I'll cook another 4 to 6 minutes, and then I'll come over and finish these. What I like to do, I like to put a little bit of some type of stock in the bottom, keep a little moisture in it, put in the oven, cook it for a while. Ribs seared up, that way it's going to hold in the flavor. One of the recipes I use is this McCormick's beef base. It's a lot cheaper than coming back in and buying the beef stock, and it's real handy. A lot of times you don't have it sticking around, so all I did was come over here, about a tablespoon, mixed up some hot water. What I'm going to do with that, I'm going to come over and just pour it in the bottom, just enough to get it covered. I'm not going to use it all. I'll probably use a little bit later if it needs it. Then I'm going to come over here. You don't have to add the onions, and this is not one of those that you want potatoes and carrots and all the veggies on. I think the onions just add a little bit of flavor. You can do it with or without it. Just about got it all ready now. And I got a nice top over here, to put on it. Basically, it's a Dutch oven. I'll pop it in the oven for about 2 hours. 2 hours into the cooking of the country-style ribs, you can see they're very tender. I've come over. I've made a plate for the lady next door. That I made. Then what I did, I came back in with the pan that I had originally cooked or seared the country style ribs. I left the grease in, I added a little of the flour, came back in and dusted the country style ribs. I made me a little roux. Then with the beef stock that I'd come back and put into the country style ribs while I was cooking, I added that juice and added a little bit more and if you remember, I had 2 quarts of the beef stock, and that's the grease. So this is another great meal that my mother used to make, my aunts used to make. As kids, we loved it. I mean, it's not quite a pork roast, but it gives you a nice taste. Now, some of the other things I could have done with this, I could have come back and put it on the grill. I could have made it with a barbecue sauce. If you cooked it with on the grill, it would have been a little bit firmer. It'd be more like ribs. If I put barbecue sauce on it, that's one of my favorite ways to do it. So anyways, that's just another recipe from the past that I'd like to pass on. Thank you for watching the MotherToSonCooking.com. Come back soon.